I am here with the one, the only, the incomparable, the personal inspiration that is Whilce Portacio. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, fantastic. New York's winding down, and it's always great to be here.
You have a storied career working on things like X-Men and various titles in general. What do you have going on currently?
With Image, another book I came out with is Stone, which is Philippine mythology. So Filipino horror creatures of the night, vying for the power with each other. And so I came out with the first one in '98, and it was the #1 best-selling independent book of the time. And so now we're going to do 2.0. And so I'm about halfway through that, and so probably early first or second quarter to come out.
And why was it important to tell a Filipino story?
Well, the big macro is that it's now a time where a lot of people know a Filipino. A lot of people know the name of the country Philippines. And so with that awareness, I now have a bigger possible audience. And so now I could show, not only Filipinos born here that don't because they're raised here, they didn't know much about the Philippines, but also non-Filipinos. I can now, especially with the narrative of superheroes and monsters and fantasy, I can introduce them to the Philippines. Because even though I was raised here, I've been going back to the Philippines every year since around 2013. But I started in the 90s, and I'm really proud of my culture, my people. There's a lot different about us. Because anybody that ever goes to the Philippines, they remark on how nice we are. And that's kind of a cliche you say everywhere, but a lot of non-Filipinos then end up 2-3 years later going to the Philippines and staying.
Right.
So there's got to be something else there, and I know there is.
Right.
And so to be able to put that in story, hey, that's what I do.
I think it's interesting how Image sort of allows you to tell the stories you want to tell without any. You're the editor, you're the creator, you're the editor, you're the driving force behind whether or not something will work. And so, talk to me about that pitch process, getting that off the ground.
One thing people don't understand about story, and that's really what you're pitching, right? And there are 5 million stories, so you got to pitch an interesting one. Well, that definition of interesting is, can you engage somebody in conversations? In fact, that's one of the things that a lot of the big companies that we know of, that's what they do underneath. So let's say you come up with a new idea.
Sure.
So you're in the line at DMV. Boring, horrible, I want to get out of here. And there's a guy in front of you or a gal in front of you, and they feel the same. They're bored, they want to get out of there. But you're going to be there for the next 20 minutes. So you strike up a conversation, and then you slowly start saying, hey, let me tell you a story. Like you're just wasting time. If you can keep that person engaged, then your story can sell. And if you get to like part 1, okay, she's interested. Part 2, she's interested. Part 3, her eyes are rolling, she's looking away. You now know you got to work on number 3.
Right.
See how great that is? And it's just an everyday thing that you could do with anybody. So if you then get to the point where you're having that conversation with 10 people in a row, and they're like, whoa, man, how cool, tell me more. You got something.
And it's something we talk about on the podcast on a regular basis. It's, there's a difference between pushing the plot through the character and pushing the character through the plot. And making, and creating an interesting world around those two things so that there's something that's catching your eye, something that's holding your interest, and something for the subject to sort of bounce off of, as opposed to the plot sort of moving everything forward and you're just, guy number 5 doing thing number 3.
That's actually really, really important. And the way I explain it is this, okay? One, you have to have something to say, okay? Like some people will say, oh yeah, I believe in love and I want to talk about love.
Sure.
No, you have to have something specific to say.
Sure.
So like, I've been burning a couple times, so I think love sucks. Or I'm in a long, happy marriage, and I want to encourage people to get married. You have to have something specific to say. Okay, so now that you have something specific to say, now comes the hard part. If you've seen interviews of directors of famous movies, and you ask them, where did you get that idea? They will almost always say, oh yeah, I had that idea 5 years ago, but it took me 5 years to figure out how to tell it. What's happening there, what they mean there is, know what you want to say, what I said earlier on. Now, figure out how to say it without saying it.
Show, don't tell, which is something else. Shout out to D'Angelo. That's something one of the guys on the podcast is a writer. And the two things he preaches is show, don't tell, and character first. And so if you nail those two things, you have what you're talking about.
That's what all our comics are.
At the end of the day, right? If there's ever a better example of show, don't tell, you have to show, especially as an artist. All right, sir. Well, I won't take up too much more of your time. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, good seeing you again.
All right, man.